where excitement meets diversity 24/7.
And we welcome you this day on Tinasha Gray Show. Welcome into the Wellness Junction right here with me. I'm your host, Tinasha Gray, on this epic marriage celebration. We're taking a journey. And guess what? You get to go with us on this 40-day wellness journey. We are developing healthy support systems, even on the topic of social wellness. We recognize the value of being in relationship with others, but we also recognize that systems must be in place as we take the journey into this wellness journey into another dimension. We want to encourage you all to think about the support systems that are surrounding your life. I'm here with Mr. Jason Gray, my friend, my lover, my husband, my partner, the one and only Mr. Jason Gray. Welcome in, sir.
Like I said, I love the intro. Let's go back to break again and introduce me again.
All right, let's do it. Let's do it. Welcome back. Welcome back.
Yes. Well, we're going to have a good time. I'm looking forward to talking about this subject here, and let's do it. Let's open up that Pandora box and let's dive into it.
All right. So talking about healthy support systems that are designed to keep you moving in the direction in which you are called to go. So look at family, look at any type of relationship, and you'll see that there are people who are around your life. Now, they're meant to be a support to you, don't you think?
Absolutely. Now, again, when you think of healthy support systems, when I think of it as a group of people that you have that will cover you in situations where you need help, not necessarily relationship issues, but issues where you may be coping with something. You may have a rough day and you don't have a good outlet to release whatever's going on with you. So these healthy support groups can help you to cope with stress, because in life you're going to deal with stress. In relationships, you're going to deal with stress. And you can even go as far as categorizing some of the healthy support groups. You can have a healthy support group for relationships. You can have a healthy support group for just one-on-one with you and somebody, because you need someone to talk to, because you don't want to bottle up any of this stuff here. And you can have healthy support group with your family. It really depends on the individual, but I recommend and I stress that you want to have these healthy support groups. I could not imagine not having a healthy support group, what that would look like. I think what it would look like is a person that would withdraw themselves when they're having issues because they don't know who to talk to. I'm also thinking of a person that would possibly could explode or just go off on a rampage because there's no way of releasing any of the steam or any of the emotions that they're experiencing.
Mm-hmm. And it's so important for us to think about this, not just when we actually need that support, but you have to think about it even when the need is not there, because you're developing a system. So for example, every business should have all of the information written down somewhere, like a go-to place. What's the phone number to the fire station down the street? What's the phone number to the police officer down the street? Who are the accountants for the company? Who are the lawyers for the company? Who are the people, in that we run to for CPR training? All these things are important when you're talking about a business. But what about the family? Do we have individuals that we can call on to come watch your children? Is the grandparents part of the support system? Like, who are these individuals that are support system to you?
That's a good question. That's something that a couple have to talk about. They have to lay out, okay, this is the plan of action. This is who we use. So if we use their grandparents, then this is who we usually reach out to take care of the kids. Just like and most people don't have an escape plan
Mm-hmm.
at home. This is where all of the fire extinguishers are. This is the way to get out. If anything happens, this is what you do. Same thing with a healthy support system. If anything goes wrong, this is who you need to reach out to. This is who you need to talk to. Yeah, and let's not bottle up anything. And let's also have a healthy support system for the kids too, because they would also need an outlet to also speak to people. Because sometimes we may not be able to reach our children at their level, but we certainly have the resources to go and support them with their own support groups.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it cannot just be, as parents, it cannot just be we are the ones that are the go-to for the family. There must be other people outside of us, because when we think of support system, we're thinking of people who are specialized in a certain area, people who have the skill and the knowledge and the wisdom, and they know how to deal with this matter. I can't be everything to everybody. I can't be the person within the family to everybody comes to me for everything. Neither can daddy be that person, but we have to be able to find, okay, there are times when I'm not going to be here. Who are the people that are trusted individuals to watch your kids, right?
Right. And, my mind runs back to the tragedy that happened several weeks ago with Miss USA. Let's just say she would have had a healthy support, a support group that she could have gone to. Who knows what the outcome would have been if there was that mechanism put in place? We don't know. I'm only speculating,
Mm-hmm.
but I can see where a healthy support group would have been useful in that case. And that's and there's other cases out there, but that's extreme. But every situation is extreme when you have to deal with yourself and dealing with the pressures in life, because we can't minimize what people are going through, especially if you have a lot of responsibility. You have your family, you have your career. These healthy support groups play a key role in making sure that there's balance in your life.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. There is such a thing as being that go-to person for everything. Within myself, I don't have all the answers. So, should something come up, I need to be able to go to my counselor for that advice when it comes to ministry. And I may have a different counselor when it comes to matters pertaining to me personally. I may have a different counselor when it comes to matters pertaining to exercise and things related to eating right. That person may be the coach for me to get myself on track. Each person should have these different support people who are supporting them on the journey to wholeness and to wellness.
Most people call those folks accountability partners, and that's what we're really talking about is having an accountability partner, and having, if not one but several accountability partners when it comes to certain areas in your life, because that one person may not have all of the answers that you're seeking, but the support system is what's really important. Support, support, support.
Mm-hmm.
We have to support each other, people, because in life we cannot run this race by ourselves. Although we want to get to the finish line by ourselves, but we can't. We need an entire village, an entire group of people to carry us along the way, and we all can end at this finish line at the same time.
Yeah, and in the case of marriage, when you have marital problems and challenges and issues, who are the trusted individuals? Who are the people that you can go to for counseling or just to have a chit chat? Do we have marriage, friends that are on the side of marriage that we can actually talk to? Every marriage is going to end up in some type of riff or a challenge here and there. Who are the people we can call on? Who are the friends that we are watching as models? Who are the models for us? It's beyond us to say we have all the answers for everything, but there must be people in our corner who can support us on this journey to making it to the place where we can truly say our marriage is epic, which we're that's the ideal. We're striving for that, and we're going for it every day. But along the way, there are people who are picking you up. They're covering you in prayer. Who are the covering over your life? Who are the people that speak into you as an individual and as a couple?
Now, I think when it comes to choosing someone to really discuss matters of your marriage, you want to look at somebody, of course, that is married and has been married for a while. And there is no perfect marriage. So we're not looking for someone that never had an issue in their marriage because that would be unrealistic. That person wouldn't know how to deal with particular problems. But you want someone that's honest, that has integrity, and is open minded and is objective, where they're willing to say no, you were wrong on that, or vice versa, because you don't want to go to people that's going to share the same opinion that you do and want to speak what you want to hear, because a lot of times you can speak to somebody about, well, this is what I'm dealing with, and they may just say, well, I don't think you're right on this matter here, and it has nothing to do with me picking sides. I'm just looking at what you're saying, and right is right and wrong is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
We need that honesty, and
Yeah.
and we need people to speak into our lives that are honest, people that don't have any ulterior motives, because that's not going to be helpful to us. But you have to be careful of who you expose yourself to, because at the end of the day, you're being vulnerable, and you don't want to be vulnerable to someone that'll plant the wrong seeds in your life.
Yes. That would be a sad day. That would be a sad day. So we do know that within families, if it's a single parent family, you have a child, you have a parent, and if it's a nucleus family, you have two parents, you have child or children. Extended family, you have um, lots of people, grandparents. You're dealing with multi generational sometimes, and so all these family systems have its own unique challenges.
Absolutely. Now think about us, and you mentioned a person that's a single parent raising a child.
Hmm.
Now it would be difficult for a single parent to go to a person that has a husband or has a wife, and talk about it, because they're going to speak to it as a two parent. They're going to give you advice based on the two parent
Hmm.
mentality, and a lot of times in a situation like that, you probably get the best advice from somebody that's walking in your shoes, versus speaking to someone that has never been a single parent before, and they will not quite understand the challenges that you have, because there are challenges to people that are single parents that us two family homes don't have.
Hmm.
So you have to be very careful on who you let speak into your life, and make sure that that person has your best interests at heart.
Absolutely, absolutely, and I always believe that it's very difficult for an individual to give you good counsel if there's partial information on the table. If we don't know all that you're facing, how can we truly give you counsel based on what you are actually going through? It's hard to give just sometimes just to hear one side. So there are people within our families. Let's say you end up in a financial crisis. Can you go to an accountant and have conversation about your finances? Can you go to a financial coach? Can you be, can you find the individuals that are common? Maybe a friend of the family can give you that advice. Who are the people in your family that you consider support systems to you? For example, again, as we're living life, things can happen. What if one family member comes down with, let's say, a disease? What type of disease? Lupus. Let's say Alzheimer's. Let's just say it's something that really affects the quality of life. Who are the support systems? Well, There are tons. If you really have a need, you can look for individuals who have groups out there that are talking about these things that will keep you accountable. Every family, every husband and wife, every child should have someone to speak to. But to take it one step further, they should have someone to speak to on the topic of interest, not just someone who is wide open to talk about everything, but also someone who's specific in nature.
Yeah, having that expert person to speak to is very helpful because that would alleviate some of the issues that you'll be experiencing.
hmm And as we talk about alleviating the experiences and alleviating the concerns, it means that we have to be open enough to talk about the real issues at hand.
Absolutely.
Sometimes we want to give partial information and not the full story.
I think
And
shame has a lot to do with that. You're embarrassed about what's going on because people may have looked at you at a certain level. So all of a sudden you have financial issues. It's hard for you to come out and say, you know what, I don't really have, I don't have it going on like I used to,
mhm,
or the way I portray. And now everything is starting to pile up on me and I don't know what to do. I need help. And sometimes it's hard to be completely transparent in the
mhm,
cases like that because that's a deeply personal thing, finances, or even when it comes to your relationship, it's deeply personal. And a lot of times we all want to portray ourselves as having the perfect relationship, but reality, that's not the case. Nobody has a perfect relationship. There are bumps in the roads
mhm,
and there's differences. If God created us all the same, then why would we need God to help us in these situations? We
mm.
we all would be, we all would be the same. We're all wearing the same color. We all eat the same thing. We just don't live in a world like that.
Yeah, but when we talk about shame, you still have to go back to the greater good. Like, would it be better for us to get help and recover versus to die in the midst of this? Because I think, sometimes either in death or in life, you will still encounter the same consequence. So a person who dies with a secret thinks the secret will never come out. It will come out. And when it comes out, aren't you still like ashamed? Don't you think you'll still be ashamed? Like, people would look at you in disgrace. They thought of you that way, but now you're dead. Yes, but still,
I don't think a person would care at that
at
point.
that point, well, I think if you're thinking reputation, if you're thinking character, if you're thinking legacy, this is what they will remember about me. If you're thinking, last memoir, those are the things that comes to mind.
Yeah, I mean, the worst thing you could do is for something like that to pop up, and there's no one to support you in that because you made a choice of not revealing the things that you should have revealed to help out the situation. So in
Hmm
that case, I'm always going to stress that if you're going to enter a support group, you have to be 100% honest with everyone and not hold back any information because at the end of the day, you're only hurting yourself. You're not going to really achieve the benefits of holding when you hold back information.
That's right.
There's no benefit behind it. I mean,
That's
if you
right.
really want help, you have to be open about it.
Absolutely. And on this juncture, we'll take a break because we do understand that if you reveal, you can heal. And if you can be real, you can heal as well. So we'll take a break and we'll come back and talk about these healthy support systems that we're developing as we journey through life.
Broadcasting live from Atlanta while serving the entire globe. It's the fastest growing radio on the web. It's 106liveradio.com.
Youth with a Mission Caribbean Partners, Inc., Wayne and Cheryl Mitchell, with Youth with a Mission, YWAM, Grenada, exists for you to experience Christ-like transformation in your life, our community, and the nations. This is an informational message to let you know your missionaries need your spiritual and financial gifts. YWAM helps each person to learn how God has equipped them to minister in the local church and in their daily life. Thank you for your support. Your donation makes a difference. Our mission is to establish the kingdom of God through the equipping of young believers in church planting among the nations. If you would like more information on some of the ministries and staff in Grenada, contact Wayne and Cheryl by emailing sharmich@gmail.com or visit their website at www.ywamgrenada.org.
Download the 106 Live Radio app from your Google Play Store. Or find us on the TuneIn app.
Source of Wellness Ministries presents the Epic Marriage Conference. With excitement and passion, you can expect and prepare for a dynamic session packed with inspiring, educational, and empowering content from authors, inspirational speakers, and marriage advocates. Jason and Tinasha Gray. To increase your foundations of intimacy, passion, and commitment in your marriage, book them for your upcoming seminar, workshop, or conference. For more, visit sourceofwellness.org or email them at info@sourceofwellness.org.
COVID-19 has changed the way we do everything. If you have a product or service, if you own a business, 106 Live Radio is the place for you. We've got some options for you, whether it's interviews, whether it's advertising, whether it's just sharing with our listening audience what it is you do. Please contact us at advertise@106 Live Radio, and we will give you the options that will best serve you. Don't let COVID-19 destroy your business or entity. There's hope. Give us a call.
Even though there's an empty seat, our son will always have a place at our table.
Even though the holidays will never be the same, my sister will always have a place in our family.
Even though life goes on, my mom will always have a place in my heart.
For victims of drunk and drug driving, our grief is unique. But you are not alone. You always have a place at MAD. Call our 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org.
Heart attacks and strokes don't stay home. So don't avoid the ER out of anxiety. Don't die of doubt. If you have an emergency, call 911. When seconds count, the hospital is the safest place to be.
Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and be sure to tell everyone else.
Ladies and gentlemen.
About 106liveradio.com.
When it comes to marriages, all of them are unique. However, there's always one similarity: the ups and the downs. In every marriage, there are moments that are relationship defining, epic even. These moments are what we discuss here on Epic Marriages. Join Jason and Tinasha Gray every Wednesday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. as they sit down with couples of all ages to speak about how they dealt with these defining moments that led to their epic marriage, here on 106 Live Radio.
Hey friends, hey family, we are here for you on this blessed day. You can count on us. Middays during the week, we are hosting the Wellness Junction. It is a place whereby we can talk about these things, even on today, which is a good date day on the radio for Jason and I. We know for a fact that as we celebrate marriages, your marriage can be thriving. But let's talk about you as an individual, because we do know individually, you might need some education. You might need some inspiration. You may need some empowerment. As a young mother, I remember bringing that baby home from the hospital and thinking, what? I'm entrusted with who? This is like a new thing for me, and I have to find a way to navigate. Well, there was a support system for me. You know, a lot of times I hear that there wasn't, but in this particular case, there was. There was a Planned Parenthood Association that I became connected to. I could have gone there and talked to any one of those ladies about the struggles, about the challenges, about the breastfeeding issues, about, the long nights, about the feeding challenges, whatever it is, the diapering. As sometimes a young mother, you don't always have the answer because there isn't a guidebook. There isn't something to say, this is how it's done. But truth and in fact, there are books. With my second and third child and fourth, I was able to actually look and see, ways in which I can do things a little different. There are support systems. Many times it comes in the form of a video on YouTube, on Facebook, on social media. Sometimes it comes in the form as a good old book. Yes. And for some reason, people don't like to read. But again, we're not going to be hiding information from you. We're putting it in a book. And it is our duty to pick up that book and to read it. I want to impress upon your heart. Don't ever feel alone. Don't feel like there is no one in this big, wide world who cannot stand with you throughout the challenge. There are many people, many individuals that God has graced with the presence and the power and the energy and the spirit of communication. And they can talk to you. He has graced them to go through a challenge and they can talk to you through it. Male, female, children, boy, girl, whoever you are, there is someone. Don't ever feel like you are alone in this big wide world. There are people who God has sent, specialized for you to be able to nurture you onto that path. I don't want you to take it for granted that you're living life on this earth and that you're not important. You are important to the survival of many others. Think about it. If there is one issue and that single issue affects you, what about that residual effect? What about the domino effect? What about the ripple effect that it caused? That's why I'm saying, as a mother, as a father, as a wife, as a husband, whoever you are in this journey, there are counselors standing by, some hotline to help you along the journey. Do not feel alone. There are mentors, individuals who can take you under their wings and coach you to the next level. Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and think of what it is that you need in your life, in your marriage, to make it epic. You can do it. I'm counting on you to survive and to survive the trial and the test that you might be facing today. It came to pass. And let's just keep it like that, because it might just take you doing the work and getting the journey started, but you can do it. I believe in you. This midday hour, Tinasha Gray standing side by side with you to go through whatever it is that you're facing today.
Download the 106 Live Radio app. Click on the headphones and choose 106 Inspiration. Your time of refreshing has come. Streaming live from Atlanta to a global audience on your favorite device. From Source of Wellness Media, we are 106inspiration.com.
The Tinasha Gray Radio Show on 106 Live Radio. Experience the difference.
Hey, yeah. Mic check 1, 2. Who can I run to when I need somebody to talk to? Could it be you? No, cause you wouldn't know what to say. My game you wouldn't know how to play. Probably think I was a joke, thought my vision wasn't so. But I got somebody to run to, and I'm glad it ain't you and the one I can talk to. I know you pull me through the things I got myself into. And now I sit back and wonder, how can I make it without you? How can I do it without you? Cause I realize that there's no way. So here's a question that I wondered, and I figured out that there's no doubt that I'm nothing without you. I don't know what I would. How can I make it without you? Yeah. No, never. I groove with you a little bit? Let's just sit back and think about some things that God has put us through, and it's only because of Him. So we just say, I don't know what I would do. Yeah. Come on, let's groove. Young Drew, Julian, LT. I don't know what I would do. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't know what I would do. I'd be lost without you, sick without you. Ain't no telling what I'd be without you. Don't know what I would do. Please don't ever leave me out, no. I don't know which way to go. Don't know. Yeah. And since you gave your life back for me, way back on Calvary, I'll never forget what you've done for me. I know what you've done for me. There's no other, please believe me. I could have made it out with you, 'cause you're the only one who pulled me through. Said He never left me. He's never left me alone. Oh, could have made it out with you. Never left me. Don't forsake me. You've been there. Stay with the one. Oh my God. Could have made it out with you. Never left me. You've been my friend. Don't forsake me. Never been like you. Been there for me. You've been so good to me. Oh Lord, yeah. You've been my healer. Gonna take hold. You've been there for me. Yeah, yeah.
It's the Tinasha Gray Radio Show, brought to you by Source of Wellness Ministries, counseling and wellness education. Live well, move well, and be well.
Tinasha Gray Show presents 40-Day Wellness Journey, powered by 106 Live Radio. Hosted by wellness coach and marriage advocate Tinasha Gray. We encourage you to tune in for some empowerment with our special guest speakers. Daily, we broadcast at 10 to 2 p.m., simulcasting on 106 Inspiration and the Epic Radio. I'm Dr. Curtis Minter. I declare in your ordinary life, you will experience extraordinary and supernatural blessings from the Lord God Almighty.
Tinasha Gray is on your radio. 106liveradio.com, where excitement meets diversity 24/7.
And we are back right here on 106liveradio.com. Folks, we are sharing with you matters pertaining to social wellness. We want you to be well in every way possible, not just spiritually or emotionally or in your physical being, but we want you to be well even how you relate to people. And for me, it's been a lifelong journey of that. And I think for you might be the same. Jason, my co-host, what are you saying today?
It is a lifelong journey. And as long as we live, we continue to be on that journey.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, we're here to help people to stay on the journey. And like I say, we're talking about healthy support systems. And before we left, we were just going back and forth on, some of the ways that you can identify people, because not every support system will be the right support system for you. So you have to know yourself, know what your needs are in order to facilitate getting that right person or that right group to be in your corner.
Mm-hmm.
But in the break, we were talking about how when we were going through our situation, we had a lot of support from many different people. They all were there at the same time, but in different stages of our recovery.
Mm-hmm.
We had a lot of different people that were covering us, and that was very tremendous, in our moving forward.
Absolutely. And
Momentum.
Yeah,
what I
go
mean?
ahead.
Tremendous.
Tremendous.
Monumental.
Monumental.
That's what I'm trying to. Try to get the words out.
Okay. And as I go back into our book, how we had plotted and just really charted the journey in our personal walk, we have a chapter 10. That entire chapter is centered around how we were able to walk through into the power of reconciliation, how we did that. Most people don't tell you the hows, right? But in our book, we felt led to talk about it. So we have this whole chapter called We Still Do. And some of the things that we talked about, Jay, is right there where it said we went for a simple tune up of the marriage, a simple tune up. That was the first initial thing that we did when we met we were in what we call the epic event. We went for a tune up, and it was a time of just unpacking things that was happening at the current moment. Well, while we were in that tune up, we had the epic event. We couldn't stay in that space anymore because they were not equipped to deal with the nature of the challenge that we were facing.
No, and that was one support group right there, was the initial tune-up. And then when the epic event happened, then we had to take it up a notch and go to someone else that was able to help us in that sense. So that's what was that was the process for us. And ours was a twofold thing. We did a lot of counseling, and counseling can only get you as far as you want to go with that. But for us, we decided, okay, if we're gonna get counseling and we want to get through this, especially me, and I want to get to the other side, what's next after counseling? So for me, it was a deliverance of what I was dealing with, because to me, it was a two-part deal. I didn't feel like going through just the counseling all by myself, all is just for me to fail later on, because, okay, I mowed the grass, but I never addressed the weeds. And the deliverance definitely took care of the weeds that was going on, the root, I should say, of the weeds that were in my life that caused me to behave in the manner I did. And I'm really grateful for the support group, because the support group really got me through it.
Yeah.
Even afterwards, because you have to maintain everything that you've learned, even through counseling and even through deliverance. You just can't go through the process and say, okay, I'm all done. Now what?
Right. And then when we went back to a third counselor, that allowed us to now create declarations, create ongoing systems. Like we weren't having a date night. Now we have a night or two for specialized for communication, for speaking, for just being transparent in that moment to talk about things on a deeper level. That's what that third counselor brought in.
I tell you, people don't realize how much counseling you need when you go through a traumatic event in your marriage. Just regular counseling only talks about the surface level stuff. But if you really get deep into it, that counselor that you may be seeing right now may not be the person that'll get you across the finish line. You just have to be realistic about that, because of whatever you're going through in your relationship. If you're going through a lot of trust issues, you may go through several different counselors before you find that one counselor that really get it.
Yeah. And then we also went on this journey whereby you were doing a group counseling session, and I was doing the same thing concurrently. When you would go to yours, I'm going to mine's, right? Where you go to the Conquer series, and I went to the Betrayal and Beyond group.
That was a difficult season. We and we had to devote a lot of time to these different functions if we wanted to get to the finish line. We knew what we wanted, but in order to get there, we weren't doing it exactly together in the same room. We were broken out into individual groups, and then after we got past that, then we found ourselves in another group called Married for Life.
Mm-hmm.
So it just continued to go. You continue to layer upon layer upon
Mhm.
layer of support groups, because each support groups will support a specific or a different need in your relationship. You can't just say, well, I'm just going to go to my regular therapist. You can do that for just tune-ups. If you want to do a couple therapy session or a single therapy session, but if you have some deep rooted issues going on in your relationship, you're going to have to seek a different professional for that.
Yeah, and I enjoyed, even as we decided to do the retreat. For us, it was a retreat. Going to Israel was a retreat. That was a healing encounter, a healing experience. But we also had to do private retreat sessions and marriage conference, which was a bigger thing that led to vow renewal. So there are so many different channels in which we can go to support the marriage.
And you have to be both on the same page, because I remember when we were going through our situation, and I was going through Conquers and you were going through Betray and Beyond. What you were going through, Tinasha, was a very difficult support group, where at times you felt like you shouldn't even be here because you weren't the one that put me in this situation. But in order for us both to get to the other side, it was necessary at that moment. But
Yeah.
it was a difficult journey.
It really
it wasn't
was.
easy
Yeah.
at all.
I felt disrupted. I felt like I was running, I was doing my thing, I was running my business, and I was growing, I was in school, taking care of the children, and now I have to stop to deal with this mess. For me it was like a big disruption, but for the greater good.
Yeah, and all of the other women that were in that support group were all in the same category, different levels of betrayal in their relationship, but there was all a place where each person can hang on to each other, cry on each other's shoulders, and some of the women were there because they were victims, and some were the actual betrayer. So
Mm-hmm.
so you just have to think about where you are in your relationship and what it is that you want to accomplish, and find that support group. And just know that some support groups are going to be easy, and then there's going to be some that's going to be very difficult, and it's going to require you to really look within yourself and to come to terms with what's going on.
Yeah, and I truly believe that as we do the work of going to these individual groups and finding good, healthy ways of recalibrating and resetting and growing to the next dimension, that will succeed. We will find that we will be, living on a greater level. Our quality of life will be so much better. We believe greatness is on the horizon, but your survival is key in this. For you to get to that place of thriving and flourishing, you're going to have to journey through some things. So be willing. I think we're saying be willing to go through the encounter, willing to go through the process of getting to the healing phase, whereby you start seeing growth, you start seeing change, you start experiencing something new, because we all have these desires for better life, better quality of life, but it would take us going through the process to experience that. I do want to switch over to some marriage boosters. In our book, again, we wrote some boosters, some things that you can do on a daily basis, weekly basis, and just let it be a part of what you do in order to, create healthy systems for your family. So I believe that we ought to continue to do ministry, continue to do work side by side, even chores in the house, do things side by side, allow each other the opportunity to be with you on the journey. So let's say, for example, if you're doing laundry, can you do laundry together? You fold together, you can put it together, just do things together, make up the bed together, clean the house together, you can cook together. Those are some healthy support things that you can create as systems within your marriage.
Yeah, but it's not just doing that together, it's communicating together, because you and I can cook a meal and not say a word.
Oh, well, I don't know how that can possibly work, but I guess. I guess.
Or make up the bed and not say nothing. I go to my side. I fold the blankets and all that type of stuff. So it isn't. It's a little more than just.
And you can do
doing
ministry
things together.
You
but
can
it
do
has,
ministry.
But the whole idea of doing things
Mhm.
together is to build up that communication, because you're doing something together, but you're also communicating at the same time. Because
Okay.
two people can sit in a car and drive and not say a word, but you're together.
Well, that's my pet peeve right there. I don't know how people can do it. But if you're going to sit in the car to go somewhere, or if you're going to be together and you don't communicate or you don't enjoy your time together, why are you doing it? What's the purpose in that?
Well, there is a purpose in everything. And yeah, so we recommend that if you're going to do these things together, make sure you have some conversation, laugh a lot, and just see where it goes from there. But,
Yeah. What kind of history is that? Because if we're making history, that don't sound like historic at all.
No, but those are mindsets that people have. There's just some
Uh-huh.
people that they have to get out of that stinking thinking and think about, well, if we're going to do this together, we might as well talk and we might as well make this fun, because it shouldn't be nothing should be a chore when you're doing something together with the person that you love.
Mm-hmm.
It just shouldn't be. And even if it comes to going to counseling or any of that stuff, it shouldn't be a mediation or anything like that. We're not,
Mhm.
but at the same time, it all depends on where that person is in their thinking.
So with ministry, I can see how it's possible to do ministry together side by side, but you're not communicating. And that could be a challenge, that you're doing ministry, you're serving together, but you're not necessarily gaining any growth from it.
That happens a lot in a lot
It
of
happens a lot.
relationships, because people think, well, we're doing ministry together because we're in the same place doing the same thing, but that isn't necessarily flourishing the relationship. You have to do things to nourish the relationship by doing those things intentionally. Now, that's service that you provide to God when you're in the ministry, but that's not service that you provide to your relationship. You're just there together doing a specific job and doing it for the kingdom.
Yeah.
But
And I think that's the key, because one of the counseling session that we went to, which was outside of these three counselors that we talked about, this is like a fourth counselor. I remember Pastor Gitton saying to us, remember to balance ministry and family and marriage. Just balance that.
Yeah, and that's always going to be the challenge, is to balance.
Mm-hmm.
Life is a balancing act. You can't have one thing over the other. It's like when you work out, you don't want to work out your left quads versus your right quads, because then your body will be out of proportion. So you want to
Absolutely.
certainly have balance in everything. Balance is so important. Balance is a key. And we couldn't stress anymore that, yeah, all these things are important, but balance is going to be the thing that's going to settle everything and make it right.
Yeah, and before we go quickly, would you speak on reading, growing, learning together? Because it's easy for one person to grow and the other person get left behind, but to grow and to read and to learn together. Can you speak about that?
Well, it's very vital that couples read together, and when you read, you're imagining, you're opening up, and you're unlocking certain parts of the brain that you guys can have this growth spurt together. There was a time, and we still do it, not as much as we were doing it before, but when we were in a certain transition in our lives, Tinasha and I did a lot of reading. I read more books in that time than I've ever read, and it would seem like we were just on a growth spurt. We were just reading everything that was in front of us, because at that point in our life, we didn't have as many responsibilities as we do now. So we recognized that that was really, really impactful for us to do these things together, whether you're reading books together or you're taking a class together. At the end of the day, the goal is to grow. We've done ministry classes together, and we're growing at the same rate, versus one person doing it and the other person is just randomly doing other things that's not beneficial to their spiritual growth or their relational growth. So it's a package deal for us, but you have to do that as a couple. You have to do things that will cause you to grow in your relationship. And reading is one of those things. You got to read together.
Wow, that is so key. I think too, our the excellence that you have in your marriage. So again, guys, while we're talking about healthy support systems that surrounds our marriage and our relationships, we're also talking about healthy support systems within the marriage, because that's another lane in which sometimes the system can be broken down. What are the things that you're doing on a consistent basis with intentional approaches to allow you to grow and be in sync together? We'll be right back after this break.
Broadcasting live from Atlanta while serving the entire globe. It's the fastest growing radio on the web. It's 106liveradio.com. Broadcasting live from Atlanta while serving the entire globe. It's the fastest growing radio on the web. It's 106liveradio.com.
COVID-19 has changed the way we do everything. If you have a product or service, if you own a business, 106 Live Radio is the place for you. We've got some options for you, whether it's interviews, whether it's advertising, whether it's just sharing with our listening audience what it is you do. Please contact us at advertise at 106 Live Radio, and we will give you the options that will best serve you. Don't let COVID-19 destroy your business or entity. There's hope. Give us a call.
Hey friend, at Journey to Hope LLC, we know that life is moving really fast. We want you to have hope to cope and be at your best, because your mental health is our greatest wealth. It affects how we think, feel, and act. A positive mental health allows you to realize your full potential, work productively, and make meaningful contributions to your family and your friends. We here at Journey to Hope join you on the Tinasha Gray Show 40-day wellness journey to living a balanced life. Connect with us on Facebook, Journey to Hope LLC, and on the website, www.journeytohopellc.com. Make sure you go ahead and give us a call at 470-377-1738. Hey friend, we're here to help.
And for that we have each other. And for that we have each other.
You listen when your body says, I'm tired, or I'm hungry. What if your body said something else might be wrong? Gynecologic cancers, cervical, ovarian, and uterine cancers have symptoms, so pay attention. If your body says something may be wrong, please listen. If it goes on for 2 weeks, see a doctor. It may be nothing, but find out, learn the symptoms, get the inside knowledge about gynecologic cancers.
Human trafficking is a problem and is an equivalent to modern-day slavery. So here are some of the facts. Estimates suggest that about 50,000 people are trafficked into the U.S. each year, and between 100,000 to 300,000 children are at risk of being victimized by domestic minor sex trafficking within that year. So we ask, if you or a loved one see or know of any human trafficking crimes, or you are a victim of such crimes, please contact the National Human Trafficking Hotline at 1-888-373-7888. That again is 1-888-373-7888. Or if you are in imminent danger, call 911 or your local law enforcement agency and help us put a stop to human trafficking.
150 over 90.
180 over 111.
160 over 110. I had a stroke.
Your blood pressure numbers could change your life. Lowering them could save you from having a stroke. If you've stopped your treatment plan, restart it or talk to your doctor about creating one that works better for you. Start taking the right steps at manageyourbp.org.
Now I'm, trying to get better, stronger than ever.
Heart attacks and strokes don't stay home. So don't avoid the ER out of anxiety. Don't die of doubt. If you have an emergency, call 911. When seconds count, the hospital is the safest place to be.
Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and be sure to tell everyone else.
Ladies and gentlemen.
About 106liveradio.com. Download the 106 Live Radio app from your Google Play Store. Or find us on the TuneIn app.
This discussion is made possible through the Source of Wellness Ministries,
a ministry designed to promote balance between soul, spirit, body connection. At Source of Wellness, we believe optimum wellness is achievable. We encourage you to experience the difference with connection to the source.
As wellness enthusiasts, our focus is to live a well-balanced life that pleases the Lord Jesus Christ. A well-balanced life gives you direction. It keeps you on the right path that ultimately leads you to the fulfillment of your divine calling.
Our mission at Source of Wellness Ministries is to facilitate comfort, coach through wellness education, and empower you to live well, move well, and be well.
To get more information and to learn more about our ministries, who we are, our beliefs, and mission, please visit us online at sourceofwellness.org. Please email us at info@sourceofwellness.org.
Our book series and written testimony are all available on Amazon.com. We pray that you are inspired to live a full and abundant life, to aspire to wholeness and your overall health and wellness.
Hey, it's Kimberly with your checkpoint number 3, relationship goals. Now, don't tune out just because you hear that phrase all over social media and pop culture. Relationship goals are just building blocks toward healthy, fulfilling relationships. Goals are an idea for the future or a desired result that you can plan and achieve. A relationship is a connection, involvement, or association between people. So therefore, relationship goals are just a set of values or experiences you set to achieve future happiness. They are the desired result of connection and involvement. They are also shared growth points and core beliefs within your relationship. Yours may include communication, shared vision, safety, trust, vulnerability, and fun time spent together. Goals, by the way, are meant to enrich your life, not spur discontentment or have you getting stuck desiring what other people look like they have. By the way, community, togetherness, and relationships are God's design. We see it over and over. Like, let's see, 2 people are better than one, for they can help each other succeed. Iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. Or a person standing alone is vulnerable, but 2 people standing back to back can conquer. We see that they're planned from the beginning. How you do them also should have a plan. Learn effective communication skills and practice them. Learn to express your desires and expectations. Unmet expectations lead to bitterness and resentment, and unexpressed expectations will be unmet expectations every time. Have fun together, share experiences, learn their love language so you can love your friends, your spouse, your coworker the way that they feel love, not just how you want to give it. Learn how you receive love and validation so that you can more readily receive and give it. Hey, don't fake emotions or desires that aren't you, because that will only breed more resentment. Don't try to become their version of perfection. Compromise, humility, communication, consideration, vulnerability, trust, and respect. These are all mutual and individual traits within a healthy relationship. They are not to be taken or given based on behavior, and these are cornerstones that will always and forever be relationship goals. All right, stay healthy, guys.
awake while the world is sound asleep, and too afraid of what might show up while you're dreaming. Nobody sees you. Nobody will believe you. And every day you try to pick up all the pieces, all the memories that somehow never leave you. Nobody sees you. Nobody will believe you. God only knows what you've been through. God only knows what they say about you. God only knows how it's killing you. But there's a kind of love that God only knows. God only knows what you've been through. God only knows what they say about you. But God only knows the real you. 'Cause there's a kind of love that God only knows. There's a kind of love, there's a kind of love. You keep a cover over every single secret. So afraid if someone saw them they would leave. But somebody sees you. Somebody will never leave you. God only knows what you've been through. God only knows what they say about you. God only knows how it's killing you. But there's a kind of love that God only knows. God only knows what you've been through. God only knows what they say about you. But God only knows the real you. 'Cause there's a kind of love that God only knows. There's a kind of love, there's a kind of love God only knows. There's a kind of love, there's a kind of love. For the lonely, for the ashamed, the misunderstood and the ones to blame. What if we could start over? We could start over. We could start over. Oh, for the lonely, for the ashamed, the misunderstood and the ones to blame. What if we could start over? We could start over. We could start over. 'Cause there's a kind of love that God only knows. God only knows what you've been through. God only knows what to say about you. God only knows the real you. 'Cause there's a kind of love that God only knows. God only knows what you've been through. God only knows what to say about you. God only knows the real you. 'Cause there's a kind of love that God only knows. There's a kind of love, there's a kind of love that God only knows. There's a kind of love. God only knows where to find you. God only knows how to break through. God only knows the real you. There's a kind of love that God only knows.
Tinasha Gray Show presents 40-Day Wellness Journey, powered by 106 Live Radio. Hosted by wellness coach and marriage advocate Tinasha Gray. We encourage you to tune in for some empowerment with our special guest speakers. Daily, we broadcast at 10 to 2 p.m., simulcasting on 106 Inspiration and the Epic Radio. I'm Dr. Curtis Minter. I declare in your ordinary life, you will experience extraordinary and supernatural blessings from the Lord God Almighty.
Tinasha Gray is on your radio. 106liveradio.com, where excitement meets diversity 24/7.
And we are back right here on 106 Live Radio, where excitement meets diversity 24/7. We're hanging with you in the mid hours of the day, bringing you the epic marriage celebration. As we talk about all these things and more, we are really talking about ways in which we can develop healthy support system. Earlier, we spoke about the relationships that surrounds our marriage, and now we're actually looking at the marriage itself. Let me get Jason in on the conversation.
I'm here, and it's a pleasure to be here. You're listening to 106liveradio.com, and thank you for tuning in. But I tell you, this subject that we're talking about has been really, really good. I tell you, it's a topic that needs to be spoken about, and people need to understand how important support groups are for life, for relationship, just for you personally speaking. Support groups are so impactful because a lot of things can be brought up in these support groups here that you may not even recognize, and you're not the only one out there that's going through what you're going through. So it's very healthy to have these things here.
Yes, yes, yes. We know that if you want to get to a place of triumph in your relationship, it's important for you to have individuals in your life to take you to that next dimension.
Absolutely. And I know for us, if we didn't have the support groups that we had in place, and during the time we were building these support groups, it wasn't like we knew this. We had a good understanding of it, but we knew that in order for us to get to the other end, how difficult or how painful it is, we have to surround ourselves with people that's going to cover us and protect us. Because when you're going through a situation and you have the wrong support group, it can make the difference of whether you will have your relationship intact or will it or not intact. And for us, we were very careful who we had speaking in our ears. There were a lot of different opinions on what we should do, what Tinasha should do, how I should, what I should do, and vice versa. But it's but at the end of the day, you have to make that decision. And if you are dealing with a lot of negative influences, those negative influences can have a huge impact on your thought process. So you have to be very careful of who you're getting advice from and what's their motive behind it. Are they jealous of what you're going through? Are they are the type of people that want to see a marriage collapse? And they're like, yeah, forget that person. You can do better. And sometimes that may not be the right solution to dissolve everything. Give it a chance. Things happen along the way. And of course, if the patterns continue to repeat, then, you may want to go in a different direction at that moment.
Hmm. But, in order for you to get through any type of ordeal to get to that place of wholeness, you're going to have to think of who outside of you can assist you and get you to that destination. There must be someone that God has placed. I remember the many books that were placed in my path, the many videos, the many counsels, and out of them all, we know that God is the master counselor, which we prayed for counsel and direction as to what to do. But in every situation, it's so unique and so different that you must be able to find individual who can speak to you on that level where you are. Like we said, we had different levels of the healing, different levels of the restoration. So we had to go through different types of counselors, different people, different groups, different support systems. So what are those systems for you? You have to know, right?
Right. You have to know what those systems are. And when you do run into an issue in life and it seems like it's more than what you can handle, the first thing you want to think about is, how can I solve this problem here? Not every problem has to have the result of you splitting up and going about your separate ways. I mean, there are some scenarios where that may be the appropriate thing to do, but that shouldn't be the first thing you do. The first thing you figure out is what can we do to salvage what we have, and if any of the parties involved is willing to do that. I mean, you got to start off there with the first, get to first base. It takes two, but at least you have one person that's willing, and then you take it from there. And you get yourself the support group, and you let the support group know that this is what your intentions are, and whatever we need to do to make this thing happen. But I strongly suggest that you don't invite others into your support group that doesn't have your best interests of heart, because emotions run high whenever you get into these support groups, especially if there's a tragedy, or there's been a catastrophe that has happened in your life or your relationship. You want to be able to confide in somebody where you can exhale and just kind of breathe in and be like, okay, let me get my mind and my thoughts together, and let's see where we can go from here.
Mm-hmm. And, as you journey through, you'll find that you get to that place where your support systems are great, but now you do need to create a system within your marriage to keep and foster a better communication, or to foster more of a loving environment. That is where you come in to being your own support and creating that system. So earlier we were talking about working together, serving together, being side by side, doing things, doing chores, doing projects, doing ministry together. We say that it's important for you to be together, but also to be communicating, to be exchanging thoughts and ideas alongside what you're doing, right, Jason?
Yeah, and the whole idea of us doing things together is to build that team mentality where we're a team, and you don't ever have a team where none of the players are talking to each other. They're all in the team for a specific goal: is to win,
Mm-hmm.
win, but also to build up character. And when you do things as a couple, you're building character between both of you. And we all know that what starts off in the kitchen ends up in the bedroom, but there's the things that are in between that'll get you from point A to point B. And we don't do point A to get to point B, but point B will always obviously be a benefit. But whenever Tinasha and I are doing things in the kitchen together, we're having fun because we enjoy being around each other, and it's not a chore. We have specific things in the house that we do, and it just seems to kind of mesh quite well. If I'm cooking, she's washing the dishes. If I'm washing the dishes, she's doing something. We're not stepping over each other. We're not getting in each other's way, but it's just a nice routine. And we have it pretty down packed. It wasn't always that way. When we first got married, there were certain things that I did and there were certain things that she did. And we were still trying to find our way, but we've been married for quite a while. So we kind of have an idea of what needs to be done, and we know how to address those areas, and it works out quite well. And we continue to this day do things together as a team because it really builds character, and it really helps us and getting to that next level. And we're still working.
Mm-hmm.
We're not we I'm not saying, okay, we have arrived and no
Mm-hmm.
more Epic Wednesdays. We're done. Sign
Mhm.
off. It just ain't gonna happen. The moment we ever feel that we've arrived, then all hell will break loose at that moment,
Yeah.
because now you've given the enemy, all right, I'll see how tight your
Yeah.
situation is.
Because honestly, if you've arrived, you're pretty much expired.
Yes.
Your arrival means that you're expired. You abandon that navigation system. You abandon the idea of living. You're pretty much dead.
Yeah, I've arrived, and let me walk away from the cockpit, and hopefully the plane will continue on autopilot.
Right. So
It
no,
doesn't work
baby.
that. It
Yeah.
doesn't work that way.
Mm-mm.
It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
Everything takes work and maintenance.
Yeah.
And if you want your relationship to be top notch, you got to maintain it. And
Mm-hmm.
maintaining it is date nights, doing things together in the kitchen, doing things together in the yard, having good, healthy dialogue between each other.
And
That's how you're going to have a
yes.
really tight relationship, and not be ashamed to expose yourself to each other.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you can take off your clothes and present each other nude, then what's the problem? Why can't we talk?
Yeah.
Why can't I say, well, I feel a certain way?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I would say nakedness is probably the most exposed that one can ever be.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, it creates
It
vulnerability.
creates vulnerability. Why
Mm-hmm.
can't we also do that with our emotional
Because some
state?
people take their clothes off only when it's dark, only when the lights are out.
Yes,
You
that's
know,
that's true.
they're not comfortable doing it with all the lights on, maybe like a candlelight, and they're fine with that. But true vulnerability, even in the brightest of day, you can
But that's an
be
entire
this
different
own.
show
Yeah.
right there. When a
Mm-hmm.
person is very uncomfortable within themselves, that's a whole different area. But my point is if you can get to that level of intimacy with your partner where you can be naked
Mm-hmm.
emotionally, then that's a great place to start.
Absolutely. And, even as we're talking about ways in which we can boost and build, Jason did mention quite a bit the date night. Even with dates, you want to try new things. So we'll take the conversation when we come back. We'll really come back in and just kind of go through some of those things because they are so key to your survival on the journey to wholeness in your marriage. It's key for you to do quite a bit of stuff, creating more of a system. This is what we do, right? This is what we do. As a team, this is what we do. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting live from Atlanta while serving the entire globe. It's the fastest growing radio on the web. It's 106liveradio.com.
Youth with a Mission Caribbean Partners, Inc., Wayne and Cheryl Mitchell, with Youth with a Mission, YWAM, Grenada, exists for you to experience Christ-like transformation in your life, our community, and the nations. This is an informational message to let you know your missionaries need your spiritual and financial gifts. YWAM helps each person to learn how God has equipped them to minister in the local church and in their daily life. Thank you for your support. Your donation makes a difference. Our mission is to establish the kingdom of God through the equipping of young believers in church planting among the nations. If you would like more information on some of the ministries and staff in Grenada, contact Wayne and Cheryl by emailing charmich@gmail.com or visit their website at www.ywamgrenada.org.
Is that a faucet running? That's not a faucet. That's a river rushing through the forest. Forest rivers provide over 100 million people with clean water to drink.
What? I can't hear you because of the vacuum.
That's not a vacuum. That's the trees in the forest cleaning up the air we breathe.
I didn't know the trees were so amazing.
Yep, and the forest gives us shade, trees to climb.
That's awesome. Let's go explore some more.
Visit the forest today and enjoy all it does, just for you. To learn more about the forest and find one near you, go to discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
As a dad, you'll probably spend years teaching your son how to hit a baseball, how to throw a tight spiral and hit a receiver, how to spring off a diving board and hit the water, how to hit a 1-wood and a 9-iron, how to hit the bullseye, how to hit the strike zone, hit a jump shot, hit the open man, hit the hockey net, and maybe the most challenging of all, how to hit the books. But the question is this: how much time will you spend teaching him what not to hit? Teach your son early and often that all violence against women is wrong. For tips on what to say, visit endabuse.org. Brought to you by the Family Violence Prevention Fund, the Waite Institute for Violence Prevention, the Ad Council, and this station.
180 over 111.
160 over 110. I had a stroke.
Your blood pressure numbers could change your life. Lowering them could save you from having a stroke. If you've stopped your treatment plan, restart it or talk to your doctor about creating one that works better for you. Start taking the right steps at manageyourbp.org.
Now I'm, trying to get better, stronger than ever.
Worried about your friend, but don't know how to reach out?
You could say, how are you, or get a fake tattoo. You could ask with an app if it works for you. You could chat with them in VR. It's all good if you think you should check in. Yeah, you should.
Whatever gets you talking.
Reach out to a friend about their mental health.
Whatever gets you talking.
Learn how you can help at seizetheawkward.org.
Human trafficking is a problem and is an equivalent to modern day slavery. So here are some of the facts. Estimates suggest that about 50,000 people are trafficked into the U.S. each year, and between 100,000 to 300,000 children are at risk of being victimized by domestic minor sex trafficking within that year. So we ask, if you or a loved one see or know of any human trafficking crimes, or you are a victim of such crimes, please contact the National Human Trafficking Hotline at 1-888-373-7888. That again is 1-888-373-7888. Or if you are in imminent danger, call 911 or your local law enforcement agency and help us put a stop to human trafficking.
Source of Wellness Ministries presents the Epic Marriage Conference. With excitement and passion, you can expect and prepare for a dynamic session packed with inspiring, educational, and empowering content from authors, inspirational speakers, and marriage advocates. Jason and Tinasha Gray. To increase your foundations of intimacy, passion, and commitment in your marriage, book them for your upcoming seminar, workshop, or conference. For more, visit sourceofwellness.org or email them at info@sourceofwellness.org.
Heart attacks and strokes don't stay home. So don't avoid the ER out of anxiety. Don't die of doubt. If you have an emergency, call 911. When seconds count, the hospital is the safest place to be.
Download the 106 Live Radio app from your Google Play Store. Or find us on the TuneIn app.
This discussion is made possible through the Source of Wellness Ministries,
a ministry designed to promote balance between soul, spirit, body connection. At Source of Wellness, we believe optimum wellness is achievable. We encourage you to experience the difference with connection to the source.
As wellness enthusiasts, our focus is to live a well-balanced life that pleases the Lord Jesus Christ. A well-balanced life gives you direction. It keeps you on the right path that ultimately leads you to the fulfillment of your divine calling.
Our mission at Source of Wellness Ministries is to facilitate comfort, coach through wellness education, and empower you to live well, move well, and be well.
To get more information and to learn more about our ministries, who we are, our beliefs, and mission, please visit us online at sourceofwellness.org. Please email us at info@sourceofwellness.org.
Our book series and written testimony are all available on Amazon.com. We pray that you are inspired to live a full and abundant life, to aspire to wholeness and your overall health and wellness.
And as we journey through this season, whatever it is that you are facing, we know that it's a testimony in the making. But how many times do we actually remember that when we are in the middle of that challenge? Very rare do we ever get to figure out and realize, listen, I'm in the middle of a journey, and this is going to be a defining moment to really say at the end of the day that I've made it through, and now I'm on the other side of this. We don't get to think about that in the beginning, but I think we should, and it was for me when we were going through this epic event that I thought, surely this is a period of time that if I handle this well, we can make it to the end of the other side of this. And so for me, I just started writing. I started journaling. I started plotting, charting the way forward, because I want to be able to go back and look and see how far we came. For me, it was an encouragement to see that we have made it so far. I think it's important to remember when we are going through, that this is a season, this is a test, this is just a part of the journey. It is just one chapter in the book, and so it gives us hope just to know that we are going through it. And whatever you can grab at, whoever is available to assist you on the journey, take them up. There are people who say, whenever you need me, call me. If you need anything, please. I love to take some people up on that challenge. And I think, for us during this journey, it's really the opportunity it was for us to reset, to recalibrate, to bring us back to some things that are very basic to marriage. And so some of the key things that I think are marriage boosters are intentional things that we do to keep us going. And there are things like dreaming together. Dreaming together was a big thing for us, to the point where we can continue that. Imagine if you're not on the same page, you can't dream together. You'd be dreaming separate. You have an idea that works for you, and the other person does the same thing. But dreaming together is a key. I also believe in expressing gratitude, being thankful, being grateful, being willing to communicate that really helps to boost that other person so that they can keep on being amazing, being sweet. So gratitude is a big deal. What about expressing your love, not withholding, but expressing, not restraining yourself, but giving it all? It's really how we handle and navigate every single day that we find that this becomes a pattern and a system within the marriage, complementing each other every day, every time, celebrating each other as often as we can. I think those are great systemic things to include. We could talk about the other end of the spectrum, and not celebrate that person. But why should we? This is the moment. You talk about celebrating life when they're dead and gone. That's just like so overrated. I think let's celebrate now. Let's celebrate each other in this moment as we make history together. And of course, let's continue to keep on serving each other and be optimistic every day. We can do it. Let's do it. Let's go for it and live. Let's go to the higher dimension. We'll be right back after this break.
The Tinasha Gray Radio Show puts faith-based inspiration, education, and empowerment in the middle of your day on 106liveradio.com, where excitement meets diversity 24/7.
Streaming live from Atlanta to a global audience on your favorite device. From Source of Wellness Media, we are 106inspiration.com.
The Tinasha Gray Radio Show on 106 Live Radio. Experience the difference.
In the mirror, tell me what you see. Other expressions of a life that shouldn't be. Are you in a place you feel far from grace? Oh, it's not over till it's over. I can relate, 'cause I've been there before. The battle's not yours, so you don't have to fight no more. You're still here, so let go of your fears and say, I'm alive. Don't just sit there. Get up and tell the world that I'm alive. It belongs to you. So go and get your life back and say, I'm alive. I'm alive. Use the next breath that you take to say, hey, I'm alive. I know you got a lot Questions on your mind. Searching for the truth and you'll be ever find my purpose and help me understand. I just really need to know. Once again, I've been right where you are. All you gotta do is look deep inside your heart. Your heart is still beating, so as long as you're still breathing, say, don't just sit there. Get up and tell the world that it belongs to you. So go and get your life back. I'm alive. I'm alive. Use the next breath that you take to say. Just realize that you have a job to do. How you live this life is totally up to you. You can sit back and watch life just pass you by. Make your dreams come true, or you can just let them die. We all gotta go through things, but you're gonna come out on the other side. So just proclaim it. I'm alive. Don't just sit there. Get up and tell the world I'm alive. It belongs to you. So go and get your life back. Hey, I'm alive. I'm alive. I'm alive. Use the next breath that you take to say, I'm alive. I'm alive. I'm alive. I'm alive.
It's the Tinasha Gray Radio Show, brought to you by Source of Wellness Ministries, counseling and wellness education. Live well, move well, and be well.
Tinasha Gray Show presents 40-Day Wellness Journey, powered by 106 Live Radio. Hosted by wellness coach and marriage advocate Tinasha Gray. We encourage you to tune in for some empowerment with our special guest speakers. Daily, we broadcast at 10 to 2 p.m. simulcasting on 106 Inspiration and the Epic Radio. I'm Dr. Curtis Minter. I declare in your ordinary life, you will experience extraordinary and supernatural blessings from the Lord God Almighty.
Tinasha Gray is on your radio. 106liveradio.com, where excitement meets diversity 24/7.
And we are back right here with you on this beautiful day. We hope you are enjoying your midday hours. Today we are celebrating marriages on the Epic Marriage Celebration. And as we do that, for us, it's really an opportunity to empower you. And if nothing else, we get to coach our own selves. We get to have a date on the radio. I think for us, it's really sharpening our own skills. What we practice, what we preach is what we practice. What we say is what we do. I don't believe in just being superficial or being fake. I believe in being the real deal. And so for me, I want my marriage to excel, and I want my relationship with others to be at a higher level. So why not go ahead and learn the key things, the key elements, the systems that we ought to learn so we can have what we need. Mr. Jason Gray, come on in, sir.
I'm here just absorbing all the things that we're talking about here. And it's been a really, really good show. And I tell you, Wednesdays, you pull up, have a seat, pull out your notepad, and just write down all the things that we have to impart to our listeners. And today is no other day, no different than any other Wednesday that we're here. So we're just having a good time talking about support systems and our goal is to help people build relationships, and we're a student to the game too here.
Mm-hmm.
So not only are we teaching people, but we're also learning ourselves, and we're on this journey together, and we are on this journey for wholeness in all areas of our lives. We want balance, and what we're telling you today about the support system, we live it. We're living it right now. We understand the importance of it, and we wouldn't tell you to do something that we haven't already tried ourselves. We just don't operate that way. And I tell you, support systems really work, especially in this day and age where there's not a lot of emphasis putting on marriage, because a lot of times people just look at why get married? I rather just, keep drinking the milk without, paying for the cow, or whatever that statement is. Why buy the cow when you can get the milk for free? Well, there's benefits to doing it the right way.
Mm-hmm. Most definitely. Doing it the way that God intended for it to be done. And after you reflect on the systems that you have in place currently, it might just mean that you want to keep some of those things that you have, or you want to change some of those systems. But I tell you, once you look at them, you would find that if you want to be strengthened, you're going to have to intentionally perform the acts that we're talking about. We said celebrate each other, dream together, express gratitude, serve each other, keep an optimistic approach on things, compliment each other. I think, and another couple big ones would be create vision statements together and pray together. Let's talk about that.
That's a whole lot that you, which part of it do you want to talk
Create vision statements together and pray together.
Vision statements and praying together. All right, let's lump all those together here. So vision statement is what it is when you and your spouse sit down and you craft out a journey for your relationship. You map it out on paper, and you say to yourself, if you're a new couple and you just got married and you don't have a lot of assets or a lot of things that you've accumulated in your relationship, this is a great time to lay it out and say, okay, we want to have kids. We want our kids to go to college. We want to finish school. We want to buy our house. And what you're doing is you're methodically mapping your relationship from start to finish.
Mm-hmm.
That is a vision for your marriage. This is the vision. But in between, you also want to put in we need to do some marriage retreats. We got to throw in a couple of vacations. We also have to work on being organized. This thing is a living, breathing document that you're creating for your relationship. It's like an operating agreement for your marriage, because it changes over time. But at the end of the day, the goal should still be the same, but a lot of times you may be going a little different direction, but at the end of the day, the finish line is still the same. So once you get that first house, then you figure out, okay, what's the next thing? Oh, do we want to start a business together? What's the next thing? Do we want to get into ministry together? What's the next thing? We want to do this. So the vision statement is very important. Now, praying together as a couple is just as important as setting up a vision statement, because when you pray together as a couple, that is the ultimate intimacy that one can do with your couple, is not to be ashamed of praying together. It's hard. It's not difficult, especially if that's something that wasn't modeled in your life.
Mm-hmm.
But praying together as a couple is awesome. We do it all the time, and for us, it's now common. It's a habit for us. I don't want to say common, but it's become a habit for us. We've been doing it for so long. It wasn't always that way. I knew when we first got married, I wanted to pray as a couple, but I had problems in the beginning doing it because it was so awkward, because I just wasn't there spiritually to do it. I'm there now, but I wasn't there in the early stages of my marriage. And that's something that I've always dreamt about doing, because these are the things that fortify and solidify your relationship. And then the whole vision for your marriage, that's not something we done in the early stages. I mean, it took us several years to get to that point. We all had our visions in our head, what we want our marriage to look like, but we actually did that when we were going through counseling. When we had our issues, it was then brought to our attention that, do you guys even have a roadmap for your marriage? And we were like, what's that? Roadmap? What does that mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that's probably what you guys are saying right now, a roadmap for our marriage. I never thought about that. Well, you're two people together. You're a corporation. You're an entity. You have to have a roadmap. That doesn't have to be. It could be whatever you want it to be, but you have to have some sort of goals in mind. And you have to set goals and you have to set milestones in your marriage in order to, and then you can go back, look at it, and see whether or not you've met those objectives. If an objective is to find a home church, put it down. If your objective is to go to a certain place as a vacation, you put it there. Like for us, I mean, we're hitting 20 years since we've known each other, and we're going to go and reduplicate the steps when we first got together back then. We're going to do that. We're going to go back to where we first met, and we're going to rewalk those steps together. That's on our roadmap, because for us, that is monumental in our relationship. This is where it all started.
Mm-hmm. And as you think about how you started and where you are today, I just know praying together has to be something that you're comfortable with. And once you've gotten comfortable with that, it's talking to God in the presence of this significant person. And if you're not that deep into your relationship, then it probably won't be something that you think you can do. But once you get to a deeper level in your relationship, that's where it becomes easier.
Well, you can tell people that, let me see if I can rephrase it. I'm not using English correctly. You have a good idea of who is comfortable praying and who isn't comfortable. Now, if one can pray openly amongst other people without feeling uncomfortable, there's a good chance that that person can pray with their spouse, because that's kind of a test. Where if you say, well, let's pray about this matter. Okay, Jason, would you pray? And then I start looking uncomfortable, then there's a good chance that Jason ain't praying with his wife, because if he can't pray openly with other people, obviously he's not going to do it privately with his wife, because it's just not in him. It's not ingrained in him. And we see, and that's okay. We're not, but we're basically saying that praying in your marriage is very important, and you can really get a lot accomplished spiritually when you're one flesh couple. Why
Mhm.
not pray together?
Yeah, you can really cause some things to happen
In the spiritual realm, yes,
as
absolutely.
you bind together. There's a power in agreement. So the support that you give is not just physical to your spouse. So we're seeing healthy support systems. That prayer can be one of those.
And when you're praying, it doesn't have to be anything sophisticated. It's you talking to God. You say, Heavenly Father, please bless our marriage. Please help us to get to that next level. Take away the distractions. I mean, you're talking to God. You're pouring your heart out. Only God knows where your heart is. So if you feel uncomfortable about even just doing the basic, I don't even consider any prayer basic. It's your style.
Mm-hmm.
If that's how you communicate with God, then go for it. It doesn't have to be like, Oral Roberts or Jimmy Swaggart or any of these other evangelist people out there that, have gone to Bible school from the time they were young to, and anything like that. You just have that intimate conversation with God, and you're holding hands with your spouse, and you both are praying together for a common cause, because this is something that's very near and dear and important to you, whether it's your children, whether it's on your finances. I mean, it's powerful. Just think of the mountains you can move when you pray together as a couple, the obstacles that you can just kick out of the way. I mean, I can go on and on and on about this.
Yeah, well, it is one of those riveting conversations. But I think, in addition to that, another thing that can be a great system to introduce is deeper level conversation. Talks about deeper things. I
You
so
don't like
grown
you don't
now.
like mowing the lawn, right?
Talking about mowing the lawn. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, you don't like mowing the lawn, right?
No. Why should we talk about it and just get it done, right? In my opinion. Why
It's a
should we talk
metaphor.
about
It's a
it?
metaphor, Tinasha.
Okay, well, give me more details.
Mowing the lawn means you're not getting to the root of the problem.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I don't like scraping the surface. I think it's great for initial conversations. So some of the things I don't like to talk about is
the weather.
And what else?
I don't know. It's just I know one thing.
Anything that's trivial. I don't like to get stuck in the how are yous. You know, that to me is it's initial. It's trivial. It's elevator conversation. I don't want to talk about elevator the weather. I just like that right there explains it all.
Like when we first got together, when I first met you, I just went straight to the gusto. I went straight to the gold. You want to have kids with me?
Well, that answers a lot of questions, right? Yeah, that answers a lot of questions. Yeah, only if you're the right person. Absolutely. Won't think twice. Let's do it. So, yeah, let's plan for it. But deeper level conversation really helps us to take away all the trivial things and allows you to go deeper. Why just talk about the mundane? I don't want to talk about people. I scratch that off. So if you think about it, you can really make a decision, which I've done, made a decision not to talk about simple basic things. I don't want to talk about that for too long. We have deeper things to talk about.
Now, what are some deep conversations you're thinking about? What is that like? The depth of how a person is feeling, not just, well, how was your day? Well, my day was good.
Yeah. So I would ask questions like how you came to that conclusion, or how did you feel when that happened? What caused you to make that choice? Like
thought-provoking questions.
Thought-provoking questions. What are some of the opportunities that lies on the horizon? What's the next big move? Like things like that. I just like we have to be able to pass. The how was your day? Because I'm just gonna get a good. I want more. Tell me more. Tell me details. That to me is a healthy support system that you're creating when you're not just talking about a feeling. You're talking about more of a belief.
What more can you say about that? I tell you, you have to get deeper in the conversations when you are in these healthy support groups. Cannot be shallow. Mm-hmm. Shallowness ain't going to get to the depth of your problem. I like that. Shallowness won't get to the depth of your problem.
Yes, we say you have to be real in order to heal.
Even better.
Okay, you want some more of that?
Well, that's free. The next one, I guess, will cost me, right?
You got that right. You got that right. Talk about your dreams. Talk about your vision. Talk about, where do you see yourself in the next 10 years? Open-ended questions can keep the conversation alive. It can keep you growing, keep you thinking. It has to be thought-provoking. If you are in a relationship and you want to grow from this level to another dimension, why not get to the deeper level of conversation? Why are we stuck in just, okay, so you can relate something that happened throughout the day. And I think that's great. Thanks for letting me know. But what's the next step? It can't just stay there.
No, and I tell you, dreams are powerful. We watched a movie yesterday where this lady had a dream of building a church. And for whatever reason, she kept running into obstacles. And the person that was engaging her in conversation wasn't a Christian at the time, but he seen the value of pursuing those dreams. Don't let anything get in your way of pursuing that dream and keep going. Mm-hmm. Sometimes the dream may take a while for it to be a reality, but you keep that dream buried inside of you you keep it inside just so you can manifest it later on is where I'm going with that is don't let the dream die. Mm-hmm. Always keep holding on to it is the better way of putting it. And yeah, it may not happen as fast as you want it to happen, but you don't want to ever don't want to let the dream die.
Wow, that's a great point to end on right there. We encourage you to keep your dream alive, keep dreaming, and, be also willing to share that. I know oftentimes Joseph get a lot of issues right there with the fact that he shared his dreams with his brothers. But guess what? They were the ones that pushed him into his destiny. The fact that they threw him in a pit didn't matter. It was all meant for good. So don't be afraid to share your dreams. You share your dreams with the brethren, the sisters, and they tend to do whatever. It might just be that they are the ones committed. So share your dreams with your significant other. If they are intimately connected with you, why not tell them the deeper things? Share your dream. I'm so glad you brought that up because that's exactly my takeaway from that family movie that we watched on yesterday. And I think it's a great closing to what we talked about today. Any final thoughts?
Nope, that's a drop the mic moment. What else can I say?
You are absolutely correct about that. And again, let's keep striving. Let's keep going. Let's keep climbing higher.
Keep growing, and I will see you guys next Wednesday.
It
same
is.
time, same place on the Tinasha Gray Show.
Awesome. Is that a date?
That's a date. Mark it in your calendar.
We mark it in our calendar. We'll be here and be square. Stay locked in. 106 Live Radio, Tinasha Gray Show.
Broadcasting live from Atlanta.